there's a certain thought that shows up right before awakening. I find this to be consistent. I find that when this thought shows up, this belief, it feels very honest. When you're experiencing it, you don't necessarily see it as a thought. You could say you feel identified with it, but it just feels honest. It feels like the most honest thing to say. And it's interesting that it's so simple. It's 4 words long. And one way or another, I'm always trying to help people turn around and look at it. Meaning, if you have a certain thought, a certain view, a certain belief, that view is structuring your view of reality, your view of awakening, life, yourself, whatever. And I'm trying to, one way or another, get that person to step out of the view and turn back around and really examine objectively this closely held belief or thought that feels really honest to them, and really just start to question, why does it feel so honest? Why does it feel so real to me? Why does it feel so intimate? So what we're doing as we approach awakening in this way is we're investigating the nature of what it feels like to be me, and seeing if we examine it more closely, we've been accurate about what it is. And what people find if they examine it closely enough or the right way is that we were not accurate about the way we've been perceiving ourselves through this one thought, through this one perception. The perception or the thought is simply stated, I am not awake. Now, this may sound silly, right? It may sound like, well, that's a conclusion based on an observation of not being awake, right? That's how the conventional mind thinks about it. So to someone who hasn't had the shift, it sounds almost absurd that I would even say this. But for someone who has had it, they can see how fixating that belief actually is, right? I am not awake feels honest. It feels like an admission of something like lack, or something like I haven't completed the process yet. I haven't figured it out yet. That whole apparatus of I haven't figured it out, I'm just trying to figure it out, I feel like I'm close, but I'm not quite there. The kind of modesty sort of that comes along with saying that, the feeling that it's honest, like it feels real, right? All of that is a kind of mass of thoughts, a mass of beliefs, a collection of beliefs. If you turn around and really examine them in one of 2 ways, or both ways. One way is to turn around and look and see, who does that actually refer to, right? Like that whole mass of beliefs around I am not awake. If you really believe that, fine, but why don't you look closely at who it really is, or where that one is that believes it? Where's the one that believes that? Can you find it? Is it actually the thought? More importantly than can you find it, can you find it outside of the thought? Can you find any of this seeming truth that I am not awake outside of the thought? So that's what I mean by turn around. If you can kind of almost step outside of yourself and turn back around and see, oh, there's a thought here that says I'm not awake. Well, who the heck does that refer to? Or what does that refer to? Where is that thought pointing back to? Who had the thought? And you may find that another thought appears that says me. You could ask the same question. Well, who had that thought? What is that thought referring back to? Because before that thought appeared, the me thought, or before the thought appeared that said I'm not awake, was there not something wide awake here? Was there not something completely conscious? Of course there was. So then it begs the question, if whatever is awake, whatever is conscious here, can somehow crowd around or focus down on or get saturated with one thought for a moment, but then totally let go of that thought, what does that say about the truth of the thought? What is the I'm not awakeness even referring to? Is it referring to the wide openness that's always here before, during, and after that thought? That doesn't quite make sense, does it? That wide openness, is it awake? Is it not awake? Is it green, yellow, blue, orange, big, small, right? None of that makes sense. So what is this not awakeness? What is it referring to? Yeah. That's one part of it. The other part of it is noticing whether there's a kind of reaction to the thought itself, right? If we have a thought that says, I'm not awake, do we feel like some kind of reaction to it, almost like a recoil, an aversion, right? Does it trigger our sense of not enough, or our sense of like shame maybe, or our sense of lack, right? Does it relate to other sort of thought structures and other even emotion structures? And if so, that's fine too. Just notice it's happening. Notice there's something sort of kind of trying to recoil from it. And if you notice that part, then you have the opportunity to kind of settle that. Settle it meaning just realize, oh, there's really nothing pushing on anything. There's just one thought and another thought and a sensation. Like, what's actually recoiling? Is anything actually recoiling from anything? Or are these thoughts just merely appearing? So as I speak this way, I also want to point out, I'm not trying to lead you to a specific conclusion. I'm not trying to show you how to think about this. I'm showing you a way that you can continue to inquire if you get the vibe of what I'm doing. It's a kind of a live thing. It's an alive curiosity that you can apply through questioning this way, trying to shift the perspective, really questioning these beliefs from all sides and seeing, is the belief that says I'm not awake, does it have any truth value at all? Truth value means it has the potential to be true or false. That's truth value. Does it have any truth value? Why should it? Is it different than any other thought? And most importantly, again, who is it referring to? Who does that thought refer back to? Who feels humbled by that thought? Who feels identified with that thought? Who feels like that thought is accurate or true? Does anyone feel that? Can you find anybody that feels that? Or is it just that thought, when there's this kind of undue attention on it and maybe a reaction to it, suddenly starts feeling real? More real than just a thought. Is that all that's happening? Is it possible that that's all that's happening? And I am not awake is no more true than I am awake, which is no more true than I'm a penguin or a leprechaun. These are thoughts. Nothing but thoughts. So when you hear Angelo talking about awakening, he's not talking about thoughts, right? I'm never talking about thoughts. In terms of awakening, I'm talking about what is simply revealed when we stop identifying with thoughts, reacting to thoughts, believing thoughts, and even feeling like certain thoughts are true, like I'm not awake. So could it be that the final barrier, I'm not awake, that idea of I'm not awake, that feeling of doubt, is nothing but a thought? There is no final barrier, really. There's no barrier at all. That's kind of crazy, but true, yeah? So doubt, the feeling of doubt, is really just a compound experience of a thought that says I'm not awake with the feeling of lack, or the feeling of that thought's about me, or the feeling of that thought is true about me. That's actually another thought, but we can have a feeling that kind of corresponds with that thought that says this is true. It's about me, right? What if you just dive right into that feeling of me right now? The feeling, leave behind the ideas, the labels, the I'm awake, I'm not awake, all of it. What if you just dive into what it feels like to be you right now? Letting go of every single label and just being there, being that. Totally letting go. You can do that. Try it. Stay with it. Go grab those thoughts.